Witch sniffed greedily, having already caught the scent of the child, but when he quickly flipped over the podium, there was nothing to be seen. As it turned out, the clever boy had already hidden himself inside the ventilation duct. Yet, the witch still sensed something amiss and was about to investigate the vent when, at that very moment, a knock on the door interrupted him. A boy slowly entered the room, and simultaneously, all the witches instantly reverted to their normal appearance. Under the witch's spell, the boy had already consumed the potion that would transform him into a rat. Now that the agreed-upon time had arrived, the boy suddenly began to convulse violently as if electrocuted. Purple smoke started billowing out of his ears and nose, and in the blink of an eye, he shot up into the sky. All that landed on the ground were the boy's clothes. The witches gathered around curiously, only to discover that the boy had turned into a rat. At the witch's command, they all began to stomp frantically. The little rat could only desperately scurry under the witch's feet. At this critical juncture, a little white rat rushed out and let him into the ventilation duct. But it wasn't over yet. The witch opened the vent, grabbed the boy by the ear, and dragged him out. The surrounding witches swarmed in, pinning him to the ground. They then dripped potion into the boy's ears. Soon, the boy also had smoke billowing from his ears and nose. After a series of violent convulsions, and amidst the witch's gleeful laughter, the boy had unfortunately transformed into a rat as well. The little rat walked up to the witch in a daze. Just as he tried to escape, the witch caught him by the tail, and even more terrifyingly, prepared to smash him to death with a hammer. At the critical moment, the little white rat stepped up once again, biting down hard on the witch's finger. The three little rats desperately fled into the ventilation duct, but the witch's hand grew longer and longer. Just as they reached a dead end, the duct beneath their feet suddenly gave way, and they tumbled down, having narrowly escaped. The three little rats decided to seek help from the boy's grandmother, as only she could restore them to their original form. They made their way through the kitchen via the ventilation duct, sneaking into the elevator unnoticed by hitching a ride on a passenger's briefcase. They climbed on top of each other and struggled to ring the grandmother's doorbell, only to be discovered by the hotel's janitor. The janitor grabbed a broom and relentlessly chased after them until the grandmother opened the door just in time to resolve the crisis. They stumbled into the room, and the grandmother was still shaken up. The boy quickly identified himself and explained the whole situation. Seeing her beloved grandson turned into a rat, the grandmother was heartbroken. But to change them back now, they had to find a way to get their hands on the witch's potion. So, the grandmother put the little rat into a half-knitted sock and lowered him down to the floor below. While the witch was away, he snuck into the room. First, he threw a pillow on the floor and used its bounce to jump onto the table. He then retrieved one of the vials from the cup filled with potions. However, just as the grandmother was pulling the sock back up, the witch suddenly grabbed it. In a moment of desperation, the grandmother had to come up with an excuse to get by. The grandmother began to concoct the antidote, but due to the witch's immense power, even after repeated adjustments, it didn't work. This meant they couldn't be restored to their original form.